So Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four, has faced significant challenges in their cinematic journey. Over the years, their films have struggled with varying levels of quality, and the franchise has encountered a series of setbacks, including unreleased projects, films that have been considered mediocre, and one that was outright disowned by its director. Given the rich storylines and characters, one might expect a smoother transition to film, but that has not been the case. So with the Fantastic Four first steps now in theatres, I think it's an opportunity to reflect on the franchise's history and the films of the past. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing what I think the best Fantastic Four movie is, alongside giving you my review for the new installment in the MCU. Before I get into it though, if you want to see more videos on upcoming theatrical releases like the latest Fantastic Four film, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating and subscribing to the channel. But without further ado, let's dive into which Fantastic Four movie is the best. So starting with the worst of the Fantastic Four films that I've seen, Josh Trank's 2015 film Fantastic Four, also referred to as Fanforstic, is often cited as one of the least favourable entries in the superhero genre. Released in 2015, it became apparent that the film was primarily produced to retain the cinematic rights to the Fantastic Four characters, a reality that is evident in its end quality. It doesn't even fall into the category of so bad it's good, rather its subpar elements provoked confusion amongst viewers, and it made us wonder what could have been if the first act was delivered on better. The reason I say this is because I actually think the first 30 minutes of the film show some promise. The opening scene, featuring the characters discovering their powers, is genuinely unsettling and suggests the direction that director Josh Trank may have originally intended. However, the film loses its momentum with the abrupt title card that reads 1 year later. This time jump shifts the narrative away from the intriguing aspects of the body horror and lower stakes drama, veering instead into conventional superhero territory. As a result, it forfeits the unique elements that initially set it apart. More critically, this leap in time takes away essential character development time, showing how individuals cope with powers they never saw. The core objective of such a film should be to depict the experience with newfound abilities and navigating the complexities that accompany them. But the film's potential appears to fade quite quickly after its initial promise in the first act. There are many theories and speculations surrounding the production process, in addition to verified details about problems on set. So I guess you could say that it's understandable why it may have fell apart. Again, I actually really enjoyed the first act of it, but as a complete film, I think it represents the absolute worst of the Fantastic Four movies on the big screen. Now, coming to the next Fantastic Four iteration, I'm going to include both the 2005 film and its sequel, Rise of the Silver Surfer. Beginning with the 2005 release, Tim Story's Fantastic Four duology represented one of the closest adaptations of the classic comic book series. The films featured costumes that were relatively faithful to the original designs, along with visual effects that were impressive for their time. While the initial reception of Fantastic Four was not overwhelmingly positive, viewers have since developed an appreciation for it, leading to a dedicated cult following that values both its flaws and achievements. Notably, the Thing was portrayed using practical effects, which contributed to a visually appealing representation that remains commendable. The performances from the entire cast are commendable too, and the storyline is sufficient enough to merit a fun rewatch. Although there were plans for a trilogy that did not materialise, the first installment remains a delightful choice for nostalgic viewing. Having grown up with this version of Fantastic Four, I think it offers a certain charm, evoking memories of the early 2000s era of superhero cinema, notably thinking back to the work of Sam Raimi on the Spider-Man films. It does have its moments, even if it isn't exactly what we wanted from the Fantastic Four. And that brings me on to the negative, which I think mainly stems from it being too much of an origin story that spends a significant 2/3 of its runtime on that very aspect. This leads to a rather unsatisfactory conclusion in the third act, and the climactic confrontation between our heroes and a somewhat lackluster Doom doesn't deliver the excitement one might expect. While there aren't any major issues with the film, the ending feels somewhat underwhelming compared to the joy and engagement found throughout the earlier parts of it. But again, you could say those earlier parts spend far too much time focusing on the origin and development of their powers. What did work for me was what worked for me with the newest film, and that was the character chemistry, the brief moments of action, and some visual aspects of it too. Now, moving on, the sequel to Tim Story's Fantastic Four adaptation, titled Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, has notably faced equal criticism over the years too. In particular, its portrayal of the formidable Marvel villain Galactus came under question, as rather than depicting Galactus as the imposing figure known from the comics, the film presents him as a less intimidating cosmic cloud. Where I think it goes wrong myself is that it amplifies the shortcomings of its predecessor while neglecting to fully utilise the newly introduced ideas that seem a lot more weighty than what came before. For instance, the storyline reunites the original cast as they confront a global threat posed by the Silver Surfer, a character whose arrival signals the approach of Galactus. Voiced by Lawrence Fishburne and portrayed by Doug Jones, the Silver Surfer stands out as a visual highlight. However, the film itself tends to be overly simplistic, failing to do justice to such a compelling character and interesting themes. Rise of the Silver Surfer had the potential for an engaging cosmic narrative, but ultimately resulted in a flimsy and forgettable adventure that repeated the same kinds of things as the first, but with diminished effectiveness. This brings me on to my review for the newest Fantastic Four film and entry in the MCU, the Fantastic Four: First Steps. In my opinion, First Steps manages to achieve what previous iterations of Marvel's First Family have struggled with, and this is reassuring given the importance of what follows this film with the Avengers and so on. At the same time, where First Steps shines is where it presents its own distinct narrative, separate from the established MCU. It's a bold move considering past attempts to explore alternate realities have often fell flat in the same universe. This time though, it truly pays off, offering a vibrant new universe to delve into. It's a reset that everyone was looking for, delivering a brilliant adaptation that not only captures the essence of the main four characters, but also significantly raises the stakes leading into next year's Avengers Doomsday film. As the movie begins, the Fantastic Four are already household names, making an appearance on a variety show to celebrate 4 incredible years of safeguarding their world from an array of villains. Set in a 60s aesthetic, it opens with a visual style reminiscent of sitcoms from that period, but then combined with a striking shot of the Baxter Building, a modern skyscraper that serves as the residence of our protagonists. After setting the scene, it moves us to a personal moment between Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards and Vanessa Kirby's Sue Storm. In this moment, Sue reveals that she is pregnant, a milestone for the couple who have faced multiple challenges in their journey to parenthood. However, this joyous reveal is accompanied by anxiety as they grapple with the implications of their exposure to cosmic rays, which granted them extraordinary abilities, but also how it could affect their unborn child. Similar to the approach taken with the Thunderbolts film earlier this year, the primary emphasis in this narrative is placed on the human aspect of the story. Through this approach, Marvel has found a way to make you care about the characters again, and do so while still exploring a new corner of the multiverse. It shows that they can make a different backdrop in the MCU pay off, and it's done via the chemistry and connection to the central characters. Director Matt Shakman has also nailed the casting for his take, while crafting one of the most visually impressive entries in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He created a retro-futuristic Earth 828 that draws inspiration from comic book aesthetics, making it a unique setting compared to other MCU films. The attention to detail in the design allows this version of Earth to reflect the 60s, and the vibrant and optimistic thinking world on screen enhances its overall appeal. Furthermore, the score composed by Michael Giacchino stands out as one of the very best in the entire MCU. It balances the sense of tension with Galactus on screen alongside a prevailing sense of hope and optimism. So overall, I think First Steps is the MCU back to its best, and it might even be a top 5 for me. The only few issues I had with it includes the pacing at the very beginning during the quick montage of the origin, some of the VFX in a handful of moments, which seems like the opposite of what we get in other moments, like with the black hole scene, and also a lack of action from Mr. Fantastic. Reed was still a great character throughout the film, he just had fewer moments to shine during the action sequences. With that aside, the more straightforward approach in First Steps indicates that Marvel has taken important lessons from its recent films that didn't meet box office expectations nor quality standards. The film demonstrates a renewed focus on character development, moving away from the typical abundance of CG action. Instead, it provides audiences with relatable characters that encourage viewer investment. Additionally, as I said before, it can work as its own film that does not require prior knowledge of the franchise or being in the loop of all the other MCU installments. Director Shakman effectively balances the humour found in family relationships with the serious challenges they encounter, gradually increasing the tension as the plot progresses towards Galactus' impending arrival on Earth. Silver Surfer is also a scene stealer in this take, and the shots of her surfing through the cosmic dust during the black hole scene were some of the visual highlights of the movie for me. So as a whole, while it isn't the perfect film, it succeeds on many of its levels, putting the focus back on the character dynamics like Marvel's best outings before it. For me, it's the best MCU movie in a while, and it makes me look forward to more films and appearances from the main four characters at the centre. But they were my thoughts on the Fantastic Four films, including what I think of the latest entry. This new interpretation of the Fantastic Four establishes a solid foundation by emphasizing the themes of family and truly focusing on the humanity behind the superheroes. It effectively sets the stage for their upcoming return in Avengers Doomsday and hints at more solo outings beyond it. I can't wait to see more from them, and right now, it's my favourite Fantastic Four movie put to screen. I still have a soft spot for the 2005 take due to nostalgia, but I can't deny that this new film is the most complete take we've had yet. But do you agree that First Steps is the best of the Fantastic Four films, and when it comes to looking forward, are you excited for Avengers Doomsday and the future of the MCU? Let me know down below in the comment section. For more videos and reviews on films like Fantastic Four First Steps, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.